What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. This is the LG G4. We're gonna kick it off today, showing off just the G4, but I also have next to it the S90D. Let me know how the audio levels are. Maybe I'm a little coming in too hot. Maybe I don't know, coming in too hot, too loud. Let me know if you can't hear me at all. Let me know. All right, I hear something. I don't like it. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, I know where it's coming from. 1 second, guys. I'll fix this technical difficulties. I can actually hear myself on my Mac from the other across the room. So 1 second. Let me fix that. Sorry, that was really weird for me. You guys probably didn't even hear it, but I did. All right, we're back. It's a little technical difficulties to start there, but yeah, how's everybody doing today? So apparently stuff worked. It's gonna be hard to read chat. Let's see. Try to get this. Okay, there it goes. A little bit bigger. How's the imagery? How's the imagery look? Let me make sure this is in filmmaker mode also. It is. That's kind of weird. That's a way different looking image. I should pause it on that. Okay, that's also in filmmaker mode. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it. So this is Jennifer Gala, by the way. If you guys aren't familiar. First of all, though, let's stop and say what's up to everybody. Hope everybody's doing good today. Let me pull the camera back so you can see both TVs. All right, so we got the S90D next to it. I'm not always gonna have this camera view, but I wanted to show you I do have it next to it. And I'm gonna zoom in on it so that you can see a little bit. I mean, it's not gonna be the highest quality when I zoom in, so keep that in mind. You're gonna lose some quality, but if you guys are watching this stream, watch it in 4K. Remember that. Started playing by itself. I didn't even press anything. It's kind of weird. Anyway, yeah, it is playing. So here's the difference between the two TVs. This is filmmaker mode, by the way. I'm going to show you so many different differences today, and we're going to talk about like the pros and the cons of both TVs. All that stuff, you know? I mean, you can kind of guess which is which. I'm not going to display it on the screen because I'm going to switch camera views quite often. So, and it's going to be kind of like on the fly. So bear with me. Bear with me, guys. So which one is the G4? Do you guys know? Which is the G4? They're both the same size. One's at an angle. Looks good, but a little dark. Let me see if I can fix that. Now it's blowing out the highlights. All right, now it seems to be blowing out the highlights a little bit on the camera. Let me go ahead and put on some LG content real quick. Since that's content I'm familiar with, so I'm gonna throw that on quick, and then we'll go through some other stuff. So let's go with the stuff we usually test, because we know it. So I'm going to go to that right now. 1 second while I switch to the content. So when you see the screen up here, I'm still here. I'm just changing things on the TV to make sure we get a good look. All right, so we want this HDR demo here. All right, we are ready. So G4 is on the left. I'm gonna tell you this right now. The LG G4 is a really amazing TV. The S90D is on the right. It's a really good TV as well. Both of them on their own, you'd be happy with either. But the G4 does things that the S90D is not doing. I'm just gonna say it like that. And we're gonna get into what that is, as the stream goes on, and we'll look even further in depth, and we're gonna pause it on certain images and look closely and see the details. But I mean, like, just looking at it from a distance, I'm seeing things like there's a difference. A lot of times when you do comparisons like this with dynamic tone mapping off, you really don't see a difference. I'm seeing some differences. I mean, like, just look at the definition in some of the details. So what you guys think of the G4 next to the S90D right now? Can you guys see the details? All right. Any highlights clipping? Let me know. I'm not going to talk a ton. I'm going to talk about the scenes, things like that. I'm going to try to interact with chat as much as I can, but it's going to be a little hard to operate the camera, the TVs, and the chat at the same time. So if you guys have a question that urgently needs to be answered, Super Chat is going to be the best way. Otherwise, I'll try to answer questions at the end as much as possible, but I can't guarantee I'll get to your question because we're going to have to do a lot of like TV stuff, changing settings, things like that. So, and we'll have plenty of time to answer questions, so don't worry. I can hear it. Hold on. One of these is loud. All right, there you go. They both look good, yes, for sure. They both have their moments. The S90D looks bigger only on camera because it's sitting higher and it is at a slight angle. So that's probably why, if you're wondering. Let me pull it back more. Yeah, that's probably better, right? I've got a variable zoom lens that I'm trying out. So I can tell you, like, white highlights just really stick out on the LG G4. Color brightness is still a win for the S90D, but that's not surprising because we're talking about QD OLED tech, and that's its strengths is the color brightness. But if you have both on their own, they're good at it. But it's things like this though. if I go back to this intro here, just see the definition in the clouds, the details. You could just tell, like, there's such a big difference. Let me see if I could zoom in on this. Can you guys see that? Like, I'm gonna have them just so you can see the clouds there. It just seems to be like a fine detail difference. I'll play it like this for a bit. I'm trying to give you guys the best detailed look at it as possible. Okay, that color's not coming through right. Let me set something back up here. I'm gonna keep it like this, I guess. This is 4K content, so there's no upscaling needed here. Both of them are in filmmaker mode. I'll show you. So, filmmaker mode. You can see it doesn't have user. Oh yeah, it does. Let's see, what did I change? Maybe I changed something. Maybe I'm making the G4 look better. See, dynamic tone mapping's off. I don't know what I changed. But let's reset it just in case. So go ahead and reset that. Reset filmmaker mode, yes. And then we'll go ahead and reset this filmmaker mode just so you can see I'm not playing with any settings. Okay, I had to put the active on that one then. All right. Let's run it back. Things weren't right. Let's look at it now. Let's go to that first demo again. Oops. Still, it's kind of crazy that even if I had active on there, the G4 was still brighter in the white highlights and stuff. So, but now they are now reset. Both of them are on filmmaker mode. You could see kind of the difference there in the clouds. Let's play it through. That's just, to me, that this part right here, when I saw it, I was like, wow, why is it so bright? Like, why is it so bright? I gotta like adjust the camera. It's making my camera clip. It's kind of crazy, right? We're gonna show different modes. Don't worry. We're just showing filmmaker mode to start, so it's fair, right? Like, but look at the difference there. That's kind of crazy. I didn't expect that much of a difference on a scene like that, to be honest with you. So to be completely real, I expected them to be very similar. I mean, I obviously thought the G4 was going to be brighter, but there are some scenes where it's just kind of insane. Make sure that tone mapping's turned off. Okay. I believe it is. Oh, nope, it's on. You're right. See, look at that. Come on, LG. What are we doing? All right, now we gotta run it back again. Such an amateur. But still, that didn't make a difference the first time I tested it. So let's see if that scene is still the same. Good catch, Classy. Yeah, it's still bright. It's like, it's still bright. And it froze. Cool. So I don't know if I'm dropping frames like in the chat. Let me know. Are we disconnected? Or is it just this? like, or did my Apple TV just like say no? Go home. All right. Let's try to load that again. It's funny. Apple TV. Do you guys Apple TV freeze sometimes? Because mine does. Quite a bit actually. I have to reset it a lot. Sometimes it'll just just quit. It'll just quit out of apps and stuff. Kind of frustrating. I know. That demo is freezing on you today too? That's so weird. All right. So it's not my Apple TV, I guess. It's just that. So in regards to like the LG C4, I'm hearing really good things about it from Classy. So that's very encouraging. We're gonna definitely test it up against the S90D because that's its big, price competitor and see. I expect the S90D to win, but Classy says otherwise. We'll see. G4 definitely is taking a win here with fine details. I can tell you that for sure. The increase in processing this year, it is noticeable to me because I had the S90C next to the G3 last year. The fine details, I wasn't noticing a huge difference like I am here, where it's like you're noticing some details that are just more pronounced on the G4. And I'm going to show you that in more depth, like as we go on. But it's just kind of interesting. It's all really interesting. But yeah, bear with me, guys. I got 260 people watching right now. That's what's up. Thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate you. I'm sorry I can't interact as much as I want to, but we'll definitely try. Is the fine details due to the A11? I think maybe. That's the only thing I could think of, maybe. Or something changed with the Samsung processing, like the way they do things with fine details, because I didn't notice that last year with the G3 and the S90C at all. And I was just talking to Classy about that. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Just seems like the G4 is more detailed in a lot of areas. Now, last year when I put the G3 into dynamic tone mapping on mode, I got a little bit more depth, but that was just more what the dynamic tone mapping was doing. I got that off right now, so this is no dynamic tone mapping on. They're completely the same. So Samsung's in filmmaker mode on static, and we're going to test movie mode in a second. I'll probably even run back the same content so you guys can kind of understand. But yeah, let's take a look at a different demo while we're still in filmmaker mode. One sec. I like this little screen. Helps me, protects me from copyrights and stuff like that. There's actually a really good demo I wanted to take a look at here. I'm gonna have to pause it on this though because I don't know like if it's copyrighted or not. So I'm just gonna pause it on this scene coming up, and I want you to just look at the difference there. Where is my lists? Ah, library. Okay. I've got a couple of Sony demos I want to take a look at too, because the Sony demos I think have really good HDR. Okay, I think this is it. Yeah, here it is. This is crazy to me. When I saw this, I was just like, I put it on and it was just going by, and I was like, what is going on here? Just kind of look at the difference there. So I had to pause it on this. Oh god, I just turned off the Samsung. Good job. Good job. All right, I had to put it on this so you can see a difference. It's this is one of the ones that kind of blew my mind when I saw this too. I was like, wow, just look at the fine details in the rocks and stuff. It's crazy. Is it in focus? I can't even tell. It's too small. Let me know if it's out of focus or something. I don't think it's out of focus. I think it's just my glasses are dirty. Let me clean my glasses. Oh, we got super chat from Rack. Thank you for the super chat. He says, what's he say? Let's see. Can't read that. Gotta blow it up. Says G4 at MSRP or G3 at a discounted price. Which one to go for? $64.99 for the 83-inch. Feels steep. Right now, all the prices are going to feel very steep. I agree with that. But you have to understand that G3 83-inch does not have the MLA technology, which is the driving factor in what's making the G4 brighter overall. So the G3 is pretty much going to be the same as every other 83-inch OLED TV, while the G4 83-inch will have that MLA technology, which is going to get it brighter than the past 83-inch OLED TVs. So that's going to be a big, reason why. And also the TV just came out. So, you might have to wait a little bit for the 83-inch to come down in price. But I would absolutely not go with the 83-inch G3 right now, just because if you wait a couple of months, you could probably get the G4 around the same price as the G3 right now. So, and that 83-inch without MLA, I wouldn't go with that personally. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. All right, let's pull this back. All right. Okay. Okay, we're gonna put on real content now. Not real content, but I'm gonna put it on some other content that won't get me in trouble. Here's some Sony demos. Let's do that. I like a lot of these Sony demos. They're nice. Most of them are in HDR. If all of a sudden one TV looks so much dimmer than the other, it's probably a SDR demo because I haven't set up the SDR modes yet. So we'll know if an SDR demo pops up. We're going to also test gaming in a second. Well, not in a second, but later on in the stream. My battery's holding strong on my camera, so we're good. Hopefully it doesn't overheat. This thing is like really sensitive. This is actually really interesting because I think the G4 is doing a good enough job with color brightness in a lot of cases where that's the problem on the C3, for example, and other W OLEDs. But MLA really does help with color brightness. I was saying this with the G3 a lot too. It's just not there to the same degree as QD OLED. but it's not something that you'll notice unless it's side by side next to a QD OLED. Like, but anything with white in the highlights, where white is the driving force, the G4 is crazy bright. Are you guys able to watch this in 4K right now? Let me know. And if so, is there any buffering issues? Is it good? You good? I'm good. Oh, this is actually an LG demo. This one's hard to expose for, so apologies if it's not exposed. It's a little dark. I'm doing manual exposure right now. I could turn the lights off and just put it on shutter priority. That might be a good idea. For everybody coming into the stream right now, the G4 is on the left, the S90D is on the right. I'm going to focus in more on the G4 in a second. I just wanted to make sure we do show it next to the Samsung so you guys can see. In my opinion, the S90D is close at times, but when it really is going to separate, the G4 does separate from the S90D. It really does. So in content like this, though, they look fairly similar. But if we're talking about content that is definitely going to be able to push the brightness, you can see a difference in brightness. Right now, though, they look pretty identical, with the G4 maybe having a little bit more detail. Let's see. I don't know what demo's playing next. That's that TCL demo. I like this demo for colors. Brightness is crazy on both, but the wild thing is when you have these next to LCD TVs now, LCD really isn't competing with most scenes. It's kind of crazy. Because a couple of years ago, you have a really bright LCD next to a W OLED, for example. There's a huge noticeable difference in brightness. But now, brightness isn't really an issue anymore. Scrolling through chat. Sorry if I'm a little behind. Turn up the ISO. It's too dark. Is it still too dark? Let me know. We're going to also do dynamic tone mapping as well. Overall impressions of the G4, I think it's really great. So far, so good. I need to do more testing on it, obviously. We've got to do some gaming on it still, but it looks great. I can notice some really good fine details, and there's depth. There's definitely depth that makes the focused picture like separate from the background. Like there is that, you hear that talked about a lot, and you do see it with pretty much all the top end TVs. But the LG G4 is sticking out on a lot of scenes. It's like there's this extra edge enhancement or something. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know exactly what it is. It's very Sony-like. I'll say that. I don't say that often. But it is very Sony-like in the fine details. And I have an A80L right here. You can't even see it, but it's not on. But it is right over here, reflecting the TV. That's pretty jarring. I'm sorry. Probably shouldn't do that. But yeah, nah, it is something we'll put the A80L next to it and see. I don't have an A95 right now. Sorry. Might try to get one. G4 looking really good though. It looked very similar in a lot of scenes though. So far, it's been like the LG demos that are separating. We got display guy in the house. We got classy in the house. What's up? What's up? Got high def in the house. Got a lot of people in the house. 264 people. Thank you. So yeah, I will definitely answer questions as we go on. Wow, that's a huge difference. Why does that look different? That looks like dramatically different. Let me change the camera up a little bit so you can see it. Jeez. What are we doing, Samsung, on this one? Is this like the tone mapping falling apart, or like what's going on? Classy, what do you think's going on with this scene? Like this looks weird on the Samsung. So much brighter on the G4, this one in particular. Kind of wild. Like I had to drop the exposure so you can see the difference there. What we got here? What's next? Oh, that's another Sony demo. I gotta boost this one up. How's the ABL? As far as ABL, I haven't noticed anything crazy. If you're talking ASBL, I haven't tested it. People tend to mix those two up. Completely different things. Has to be the processor analyzing the picture. Whatever it's doing, I don't have AI Picture Pro on. Like whatever it's doing, AI Picture Pro is completely off. So just keep that in mind. This is an SDR demo. I can tell. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's find out. Nope, it's HDR. It's just really weird looking. Oh, this is one of those demos. This is actually graded in dynamic mode. So like if you have it in any other mode, it looks just kind of weird. It's graded for, not graded in dynamic mode, but it's graded for dynamic mode. So when you play demos that are graded for dynamic mode in like filmmaker mode, they look a little kind of washed out at times. Or like dimmer. Appreciate that, Anthony. Thank you. 260 viewers, 75 likes. Appreciate anybody that hit the like button. You guys don't have to, but if you want to and you want to support the channel, that helps a lot. Thank you. So I'm about as far away from the camera as it looks like you guys are that far. That's how far I'm sitting away. So kind of in the back of the room, observing the two TVs, looking at the camera, making sure it doesn't clip at times. But so this, I would say that was like more of a low graded content, maybe, or I don't know what was going on with that. To be honest with you, I thought it was an SDR, but it was not. This one is got some weird issues, artifacts and stuff. It just be doing that. I don't know why. Just does. So let me switch it up to some other content real quick. Here's a demo I think I've shown before, but we'll see it again because it's a great one. Let's make sure. Yeah, this is Jennifer Gala. Check out her YouTube channel. Apple TV just died, I think. Yep. That happens. There's always this weird bug with Apple TV. I'm going to go ahead and focus on the G4 for now. That's too close. 1 second. Too close. We're too close. Yeah, so we're going to put the focus on the G4 and go through some settings and stuff and look at that. And then we'll go back to the side-by-side. Yeah, Apple TV just crashes sometimes. Goes to this screen, the main screen like that. And then I have to pull the plug on the back of my Apple TV and plug it back in. I need a new Apple TV, apparently. Just learned that 2 days ago. It does not like my splitter or HDR in general. It just doesn't like it. So that's not fun. That's not fun at all. One second. Here we go. I meant to play this. This is the LG G4. It's very bright. Fix that. Was clipping a little bit. The camera was clipping, not the TV, of course. Looks good now. Does that look good to you guys? Focus is on the G4 for now. We'll look at the differences and all that with the tone mapping, dynamic tone mapping. But the way that the TV's tone mapping this year, like, I'm not talking about dynamic tone map, just talking about the actual TV tone mapping. It looks good. I like it. And I think Classy was talking to me about this when he saw it. He said they changed the tone mapping this year, the way it behaves, cleaned it up, and so I believe I had that conversation with them. Could be wrong. Maybe I was just imagining that conversation. I don't know. We talked about that, right, Classy? I can't even remember it anymore. It might have been just something I heard at CES too. Sometimes it all just blends in. We got gaming tech in the house. What's up? How you doing, Marcus? Man, G4 looks great. It's kind of dark, huh? Should raise it up a little bit. Yeah, that better. Trying to see the shadow details a little bit more. The balance of operating the camera, trying to not clip colors, and I could tell you that what it looks white, but it's not. My camera is just not capturing these colors. So the colors are actually really good. Colors are really good. So I'm impressed with the colors. I think they do a pretty good job overall. This is a good image to stop on actually, and we can turn on game mode since we are in Apple TV. We can actually turn on game mode and see if there's a huge drop off. So let's do that. Let's actually just change that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add a quick shortcut to Game Optimizer. Okay. Oh, that's right. We are not on the Apple TV, because my Apple TV froze. I'm on the external app now. But anyway, looks good. Trying to show you the color a little bit, so that's why I'm backing it off. If I show you the color, you lose the brightness. Just how the camera and dynamic range of the camera works and showing off color. Can't have it all. Can you test AI Picture Pro? Sure. Let's see. Let's pause it on something where maybe AI Picture Pro would be doing something here. Nah. Let's try to get a here. See, the thing is, I just don't know what it would be doing, and maybe AI Picture Pro just doesn't work in filmmaker mode. But I don't see a difference. Oh, there it goes. It's working now. Do you see it? See, it wasn't working just a second ago, and I was just talking to Classy about this, and he said he couldn't get it to work either at first on the C3. Well, it doesn't work on the C. Okay, let me rephrase this. It does not work on the C4. AI Picture Pro does not work on the C4 if it's copyrighted content. It supposedly does work on everything on the G4. So when you toggle it, you can see it did do something. Now it's not. So it needs an update. There needs to be some sort of firmware update to AI Picture Pro because it was doing something for a second there. You saw it. I know you saw it. Everybody saw it, right? You saw it, but now you don't see it when I toggle. So that's weird, right? It's like it was working. Now it's not working. But it did work for just a second. It happened live. You could rewind the stream and see it. You saw it, right, Classy? AI Picture Pro. All right, we're going to put it into vivid mode then. So we got vivid mode on here. AI Picture Pro is on. Okay, I can see a difference in that. You can see if you look at the skin tone when I toggle it, AI Picture Pro is actually making the skin tone more red. Yeah, you can see. I gotta back up the camera since it's in vivid mode. Hold on. All right, yeah. You can kind of see it is doing something in vivid mode, but in filmmaker mode, it didn't do anything. It did for a second, but then it didn't do anything. AI recommendation. What is that? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the AI directorial mode is and if it's like under something, because they talked about it. But maybe you have to have this on. I don't know. Let's try standard mode. It's on by default though in vivid mode, unless it wasn't. All right, so now we are in standard. Standard looks a lot more tame this year. Like standard modes, I've noticed this. It's like a trend. Samsung standard mode starting to get a little bit more tame. LG's starting to get a little bit more tame. Sony's starting to get a little bit more tame. Before it used to be like vivid mode and standard mode are very similar. They're both like cooler color temperature though, but it's not as wild. So they both have the dynamic tone mapping on. Let's go to this AI service. Yeah, this is a lot more subtle difference. You can still see it working, but it's not as big of a difference. So I add that and then toggle it. No. Interesting. All right, so there's that. Let's try cinema, because that has dynamic tone mapping on by default. Let's try that. I still don't really like the actual navigation of the menu system. I like the quick menu, but I don't like the navigation, and I don't like this controller. Same controller. You couldn't see it, but it's the same old LG Magic Remote. Please change that. Please. It doesn't seem to be doing anything on a lot of stuff. It probably does just depend, and maybe it only works in Vivid and Standard. That's a possibility. But you did see it worked for a second in Filmmaker mode, so yeah, I don't know. Camera looks good though. People want to see the fire scene. All right, let's go to the fire scene. The fire dancers. It's frozen for a second there. I haven't tested low bit rate content yet or upscaling. It is crazy that LG didn't update their remotes. I'm not a big fan of that part. Let me look through some chat messages here. Vivid mode is red. Yep. Very red. AI picture doesn't. Oh, it doesn't work on Apple TV? I could test it. It's built into Picture Pro. Okay. That's the AI director changing the tones to make Vivid and Standard more accurate. It's funny because it was actually doing the opposite for Vivid. It seemed to make it more red. Kind of weird. Don't worry, I'll set up the side by side again. And we're gonna do game mode too. I know a lot of people have a lot of requests. I try to meet them, but can only do one thing at once. All right, I'm gonna switch to content. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. S90D just turned off. Oh no, it didn't. It just has a screensaver on. That's a good idea, Classy. I will do that. I will do that in a second. I just have to reset the Apple TV. And what I could do that. I could reset the Apple TV while you guys look at this image. I'll be right back. All right. You can't tell white clipping in a YouTube video? What do you mean? I'm gonna try to see if I can put this in the shutter priority if it works. That way I don't have to keep changing the scene. All right, I'm gonna switch it back to the Apple TV since I reset it. One sec. Bear with me. Maybe YouTube won't break this time. Be nice. Be nice if YouTube didn't break. We'll go back to the LG demos since those weren't breaking. Well, I don't want to say that because then we might just jinx it. There you go. Camera should be adjusting by itself now. I'll zoom in a little bit more. But every time I zoom in, you are losing a little bit of quality. Right now, they're both in filmmaker mode still. But let's go ahead and change them. Let's pause it on a scene here. Let's pause it on this image. So I'm gonna change it to movie mode here. And movie mode, of course, is active on. And I'm gonna go ahead and reset it so you know. And then on the G4. And I should put up something to show which is which on the bottom. I will. Filmmaker mode. Change anything, it just says user settings, but I'll go ahead and switch it. Go to cinema, I'm guessing. We'll try cinema first. That has a dynamic tone mapping on. So I'll show you the difference with it on and off. This is off. Is on. Okay. I'll run this demo back now with the Samsung in movie mode with active tone mapping, and then the LG with cinema with dynamic tone mapping on. And when you have it like this, G4 is much brighter, and it's freezing on that scene again, classy. Weird, right? Weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's like, hey, you know you want to freeze on this scene right here. Okay. Something going on with YouTube today. Might want to tilt the LG towards the camera. It is towards the camera. Let me see what I could do. One sec. I'll fix it. I have to have it sort of at an angle, but let me see if I can fix the angle. One sec. Okay, I tried to fix it a little bit better so it's not too far angled. All right. Is that better? You want me to turn the light off? I'm gonna turn the light off. I'm gonna write what mode it's in and stuff on the bottom and which is which, because that way people that are coming in late can see. I guess I really don't have to write left and right. It's just separate them. And then I'm gonna check chat in a second. Let me fix this. Yeah, keep in mind forward. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to move the comments up here now. So it's in the movie modes, but they do have the dynamic tone mapping turned on. So, but once you have the dynamic tone mapping turned on, then yeah, the G4 separates even more. Hold on, it's kind of clipping. The dark demos don't do too good. Let's do one of these. The wild's a good one. Darker scenes are gonna kind of like look weird on the camera. I gotta show some more detail on this one. Wow, that's a huge difference when dynamic tone mapping's on for that scene. So like people that love what Samsung does with color and brightness, like traditionally what they do, you could actually take it to an even further extreme with the LG OLED TVs, like the G4 for example, and even the G3 last year. Like when you put it in these types of modes, if you're somebody who doesn't watch in like filmmaker mode with dynamic tone mapping turned off, you just want your TV to be like as bright as possible, as colorful as possible. Your winner is going to be the LG G4 in that situation. Like, and I said the same thing with the G3 last year. It's kind of wild how Samsung doesn't have a really good dynamic tone mapping on mode. Their active mode doesn't really work that good, in my opinion. Like, it just doesn't look that good compared to dynamic tone mapping on. And so I don't know exactly why that is. Let's try other modes. Let's try other modes. One sec. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it on that one scene real quick. That where I saw a big separation. Okay. Just to double check, we are in movie mode. Yes. All right. So just so you guys could see, this is movie mode. But we're gonna go through and see. So that's filmmaker mode. You can see it does. So there's dynamic. So not even dynamic can get as bright as cinema with dynamic tone mapping on. So like this, your maximum capability of the TV is pretty much like gonna be your standard mode or your dynamic. So yeah, that's a it's pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and for fun, let's put it in the dynamic mode on here, and then let's try the vivid mode on here. So there's vivid mode. And vivid versus dynamic right now is what you're seeing. So, you know, those of you that judge a TV based on vivid and dynamic, the G4 is the clear winner here. It's not close. So let's play it back. Yeah, let's just keep playing it in vivid and dynamic for you. Dynamic dudes. I don't have no way to do that right now. I will, like, when I do my own testing, but, like, I don't have any way to show that on stream right now. I can't show Dolby Vision. I don't have two separate content things right now. Yeah, this is Vivid. Vivid is weird, dude. Like, look how red that is. Like, I don't even know. LG just threw, like, the kitchen sink at Vivid. This is, like, some of the worst colors I've ever seen in my life. It's so bad. But, you know, if you guys like look at this scene. This is what people want out of their vivid mode though. So it's like wild, man. That's vivid mode and dynamic mode right there. Go ahead and screenshot that if you want. See, that's bright. That's not clear. I mean, it's not good looking. It's just like, wow. Kind of bright. All right, let's go ahead and let's look at that scene. Let's look at that scene in movie mode. So we're still in dynamic on the Samsung. So we're cinema here. So that's cinema versus dynamic there. Let's go ahead and go to movie mode on this one. So yeah, like I don't know. Like the thing is, you kind of need contrast enhancer to actually match dynamic tone mapping on, because like active isn't doing anything for you. So if you want to get close, you have to use contrast enhancer. So you could use contrast enhancer on low, it gets about the same. So if you guys are trying to match the LG cinema dynamic tone mapping, then you have to use contrast enhancer. Let's go ahead and go to cinema home. Kind of mess around with this scene because I don't know, I just think it looks cool. Let's go ahead and put the contrast enhancer on high for this one. Just testing things out. I'm not saying this is a good way to watch TV or anything. Just testing out the capabilities of the TV. See what they could do. So we got dynamic tone mapping on there. Expression enhancers on detail. Are we in the right one? We want home. Okay, we're in home. So yeah, there's detail. So we are in contrast enhancer high. Let's switch this now to brightness on the expression enhancer. So here's that. Pretty similar. I would say though the LG is a little bit brighter. Stream was muted the whole time. Oh man. So they're both pretty good. When you put them in filmmaker mode, of course. So my camera adjust for that. Wow, that was loud. So we'll just keep them in filmmaker modes for now. Run another demo here. See if I can answer some questions. Apple TV just crashed again. Jeez. Okay. Let's do some gaming. Let's throw up the game console on here. Let's throw up the game console. I'll be right back. Apple TV is failing me right now. We're gonna go through and answer some questions in a sec. I don't know why that Apple TV keeps breaking, but we will do some gaming. And then we'll focus on the G3. G4, not the G3. We don't have the G3 right now. I will load up a game. Let's see what games. It wants me to update my controller. Are you serious right now? Just gonna let it. Are you guys just gonna watch me update my controller? I guess. So I'm updating my controller live. While this happens, let me put on some content for you guys. I swear, every time I load up, they're just like, "Hey, you should update your controller, update your games, update something." It's always something. It's always something. I gotta take that off the screen now. All right, so we're looking at the G3 by itself now. I'm about to just play some HDR gaming videos for you guys. At this point, everything just seems to have an update or needs an update or breaks. It's fun. Live streaming is fun sometimes. It was all working fine before the live stream, and now it just doesn't want to work right. What's up with that? Here, let's speed it up to there's a couple of bright scenes on here. That's actually blown out in the demo too. That's just a blown out scene. It's so loud, isn't it? Did you hear it? Like, listen to that. It's so loud. You hear the clicks. The remote wasn't even near the microphone, and you could hear it. What game should I play? I guess whatever game works, right? Colorful game. What's a colorful game? Sea of Thieves? I guess that's kind of like a good one to test color on. G4 looks so good. I haven't seen a scene that makes me think otherwise. I mean, it should look good for the money, right? Like, let's be real. But yeah, there's not a lot of flaws. I do have a little bit of uniformity issues right now, but I'm not gonna judge its uniformity until I run a pixel refresh and make sure everything's not something that I can clean up. We're gonna test the fireplace in Sea of Thieves. It's a good place to check. Just haven't had that in a long time. Haven't played this one in a long time. All right. So it thinks it's an Apple TV still. So we're gonna make sure it's in game mode. It is in game mode all of a sudden. Let me double check everything. Okay. Change the white balance already to match. I don't know what the console's set to. I will check that in a sec. I will back the camera up so you can see both in a second. All right. So we are in Game Optimizer. I'm looking at this yellow here. When I would change last year from Game Optimizer and Filmmaker mode, I would notice a drop off in that yellow. It's not bright enough, I don't think, to tell. So let's go into the fire. Let's find the fire. Yep, that's my gamer tag. If you do want to add me, go ahead. So Still can't change the peak brightness? This isn't SDR. This is HDR. Isn't it? Is it not HDR? If it's not HDR, then I messed up. No, it's HDR, right? Because it says it right here. Okay, we're good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit this stream up because there's a lot of troubleshooting involved in this stream. You know, live streams happen, but for the most part, who started the fire? What fire? Why is it taking so long to find stuff? Searching the seas. It's been searching the seas for a very long time. Let's be real. All right. Let's try Elden Ring. No, that's not colorful at all. Let's try Ori. Ori's colorful. Ori needs an update. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay. Let's find some color. Ori looks like it's blooming on the camera, but it's not. I promise. I need to find an area with a lot of color. This game is really nice looking, but it's dark and hard to show. All right, so there's some color. That'll be a good one to test here. So if there's any drop off, we'll see it here. We will see it here for sure if there's any drop off at all. So last year, all I would do is switch between Game Optimizer and Filmmaker mode, and you would see a drop off. And I'm happy to report there is no drop off. No noticeable drop off. Last year, your game mode color brightness would drop off, but you can see it here. The yellow is not changing. So very good news there. And the yellow is matching pretty similarly to the S90D right now. So let me go ahead and back up the camera so you can see it a little bit better. So first, let's zoom in on that yellow. You can see it, a little bit of a difference there. And let me get this up there so you can see that a little bit better. I will change it now between the modes so you can see. And then I will, so here's Filmmaker mode and game mode. Same thing. Looks the same. I love it. I love that. Wow. Good job. Good job, LG. You listened. That's crazy. LG listened, guys. I can't believe it. So one place they didn't listen, you know, is obviously SDR. They're not going to do that, but man, looks good. All right, let's go to an SDR game now. How about some good old Ninja Turtles? SDR brightness. You're gonna see it here. So if you're like a fan of the SDR brightness, that looks good. SDR brightness looks good on that white menu right there. I don't know if that's the ABL just hit the S90D like a rock or what, but the S90D was brighter, and then like a white screen happened. Okay, now it's brighter again. Now the S90D is brighter again. So, interesting. This is SDR gaming. Kind of like my biggest gripe about LG is that I can't do what I'm doing on the Samsung on an LG. Like, there should be no reason why I can't. It's not like I'm losing color here. I'm not. I'm not at all. So I just don't understand why I'm not able to do it. Let's double check though. Maybe they no. All right. Still locked out on that one. Can't even do auto dynamic contrast. All right. Change the nope. Don't touch that. Keep it on auto. Gamma doesn't do anything. Keep it on 2.2. All right, so that's kind of like that, but you can play it in filmmaker mode if you want to. But it's still not as bright. But let's see if we can fix that. I guess you wouldn't want to play it in filmmaker mode if you want it bright. Let's just throw it in cinema. Standard. No, we want to keep the color temperature, so let's just mess with our cinema. This is an energy saving because I didn't touch SDR yet. So hold on, let's not judge it. Let's not judge game mode because it's in well, let's not judge SDR game mode. Let's turn this part off because this is the SDR. You have to do it in SDR. Even though I already did it in HDR, you have to do it in SDR. But let's see if that fixed anything for the game optimizer. Yeah, it did. Okay. That looks better. All right. See, I was about to say, guys. I was overreacting there. I apologize. But still can't have peak brightness, but it looks good. The brightness is good. Looks pretty close. Turns out that was a problem. All right, what do you guys think? Classy said the SDR color on the S90D is really bad. I agree. Looks weird. I don't know why it looks like that. Oh, you know what? I do know why it looks like that. You're right. Contrast enhancer and stuff is on. It's like my first rodeo. I know this. Like, all right, let's fix that. The fact that it's that bright, though. All right, let's go to original. That fixes everything. They look similar. S90D is slightly brighter, but not much. So if you're worried about not being able to change peak brightness on your G4 in SDR gaming, it's not really noticeable. Like in years past, it was, right? This is such a loud controller. So sorry if you hear me clicking. Just kicking some foot. All right. So that's cool. S90D is obviously still brighter because you can't change the peak brightness. But if you could, this is what it would look like. I'll show you. As I did something, I put on Apple TV Plus, or I put on Samsung TV Plus on accident, pressing buttons. All right. Let's change this mode here to cinema, and then if you just wanted to crank up everything, I don't recommend this, but if you wanted to, peak brightness is still locked. I don't know why. Maybe you have to like go in ALLM or something. Make sure that's on. No, it's on. So peak brightness still locked on that sense, even when you change it. But if you wanted to game in vivid, my God, there you go. Or you could just do expert bright, I guess. That's pretty bright. If you wanted semi close. Now it's matching the S90D. Latency wise, adds a little bit. It's totally doable. So if you wanted to play with ALLM on for SDR gaming, I wouldn't recommend playing super competitive games, but something casual like this, you're not having much going on. All right, let's go back to some HDR. How about some Ghostwire Tokyo? I'm gonna start a new game because I'm on that one part. This is the loading screen where you think the TVs are broken. It's not. My TVs aren't breaking, I swear. L game mode. Nah, I think the game mode's actually pretty good. Game mode's pretty good. SDR is not as bright, but it's not an L. I don't think it's an L. Last year was an L because that yellow right there, you could tell. You could tell a huge difference. But this year, I'm looking at the yellow. There's not much difference. There's actually no difference. Filmmaker mode might be the same as Game Optimizer now when you set your settings the same exact, which is brilliant. That's a great thing. So definitely not an L. All right, let's do a new game. This is still an original. Let's not. No, it's not. Okay, we're good. I believe it's in dynamic tone mapping on though. Let's set this to basic first, and then we'll run it again on advanced. Just to double check the settings. Static, warm, yep, okay, cool. We'll just put it on easy so we don't get our butt kicked. The S90D is blinking because the camera, it's not blinking in real life. I'm gonna let the cutscene play. There's a lot of bright colors and so far gaming looks better on the S90D. You think so? So far I've only done really like SDR gaming. My controller started vibrating because of the motorcycle. I had it on the table. That's funny. All right. Pretty much look the same right now. Looks really similar. Last year, though, when I compared the G3 to the S90C, there was a huge advantage to the S90C in game mode. So comparing the G4 to the S90D now, I'm not seeing any advantage for the S90D. For the most part, they look similar. And this is, of course, with dynamic tone mapping turned off. We're still going to test dynamic tone mapping turned on since I know a lot of you guys play games like that. This is like a really cool intro. You might have seen this intro actually in one of my videos one time. Samsung doesn't look oversaturated right now. To me, they look the same. I'm not seeing anything that's like oversaturated. This is HDR game mode right now. They're looking pretty similar. Even the like color brightness in the fire there looks good. And I could tell you for a fact the G3 did not look like that last year. So the G4 passes the gaming test. Is the G4 slightly sharper? Maybe. You got to remember cutscenes are like usually 1080p or something. So cutscenes are really low resolution. So maybe you're just seeing some like enhancements for the G series. It might be. They look they look the same. I don't see any big advantage here. I can't see an advantage right now. There are scenes where you will see advantages. I'm not seeing it right now. It's kind of dark. Let's brighten it up a little bit. How's the heat on the G4? It's not really that hot. Neither TV gets really hot when you touch the back of it when you're done using it. All right. Game mode looks good. All right, let's run that same cutscene but with dynamic tone mapping. Oops. Accidentally took it out of game mode for a second there. Let's double check. Okay, active. Everything else is good, I think. I'm not messing with color or anything like that. We're just messing with the basic settings. And again, I have my Xbox set to like 1500 nits right now or something. I don't remember. It changes, you know, obviously depending on the game if it supports it and stuff. I don't remember if this game supports it or not. But let's go ahead and put on the HDIG. Let's go ahead and just put on dynamic tone mapping on since people play with active and dynamic tone mapping on all the time. So let's show you what that looks like. When you do have dynamic tone mapping turned on, now I have to drop the exposure again because otherwise you won't be able to read it. I gotta make sure I hold the controller, otherwise it's gonna vibrate. White text is brighter for some reason on the black background on active. It's weird. Dynamic tone mapping on is so bright. If you want to flex the G4's muscles, use dynamic tone mapping on. If you don't care about the whole accuracy thing. For games, I'd absolutely use it in certain degrees. You probably want to drop the shadows though, because it lifts pretty much everything. Oh, yeah, probably should put that back up. Actually, let's just keep it off. That way I can reuse some of the content. I'm sure everybody in chat will help out the people that are watching and asking which is which. It's weird that the text is brighter on the S90D, but everything else just seems to be brighter on the G4. Keep in mind this is with dynamic tone mapping turned on. Both are on. And there's moments where they look the same, but when there's like white highlights involved, it just boosts it beyond belief. Looks pretty similar right now, actually, surprisingly. You know, I'm not gonna make a blanket statement and say they look the same, like for game mode entirely, but just for these couple of scenes we've seen. Now this is when dynamic tone mapping on is on, though they look different. The G4 does dynamic tone mapping just in a brighter way, like a much brighter way. Eric, for real, it really just depends on what you like. I would say like the G4 is gonna be better than say the S90D in my opinion, just because like it's more capable. What you're getting is better. I think when you're looking at some of the details, like we were looking at earlier, it stuck out more. Um, you can see a little bit more fine details in the G4. Not so much in gaming too much, but outside of game mode, I saw more differences. And I think it just depends on what you like. You have to look at the user experience too. See if you would enjoy Samsung versus LG, and I'll kind of make a video on that as well because the user experience is different. They're about the same speed. I would say Samsung's a little bit faster this year. They both have a really annoying home screen. I would say that LG's menu system is very clunky, needs to be adjusted. But their quick menu is awesome. So, I mean, it really comes down to a lot of different factors. But if you're just talking pure picture quality, you can't go wrong with either. The S95D I haven't seen yet. So, that'll be something we do get. We'll probably get that sometime next week. And we will compare it. But right now, what you're looking at is the S90D. So, I'm sorry I can't answer all the questions in the chat. I know there's a lot. But if I can't get to your comments or questions, just leave them in the comments section. Would it stop the FOMO's real name? FOMO? His name is FOMO. What's his real name? Like, that's his first name, FOMO. Did they improve the build in audio? Oh, the built-in audio? Oh, yeah, you know, I don't know. I haven't tested it enough to really comment on it. So, I'll test that some more. It sounded about the same as last year, to be honest with you. I didn't hear anything that made me think otherwise, but I'll definitely test it. I mean, I'm not. So I'm gonna compare the S95D with lights, without lights, all of that stuff, for sure. The thing you have to realize though about the S95D is like, no matter what you do to it, no matter what, it's always gonna look a tad bit softer because of the coating. It's always gonna have a little bit of that milky black look to it if you have any sort of ambient light around it. So you just have to remember that about the S95D. Otherwise, it's great. Like, if it's on its own, it's great for the most part. But if you have anything that's gonna show its characteristics of its screen coating, you might not have a great time with it. Anybody else seen the G4 push green? Not like last year. Last year, the G3 really did push the green a lot. Like in this scene, for example, you would see a lot of green whenever you had a white scene on. So like I feel like that's not a big issue this year. But I gotta see more, of course. But you do have a little bit of a tint though. That's always kind of seemed to be how it was a little bit. And just keep in mind that on camera, it might look a little bit more blue. It is you still using OLED at the end of the day. KG, you said the opposite of that in S95D first look? No, I didn't. I said the exact same thing. I said it has a milky black look to the blacks. If you are in a super bright room though, it will help you. I want to make that clear. Like I still do believe that in a super bright room, the S95D is gonna be the TV for a lot of people. I prefer not seeing reflections, mirror-like reflections, and we'll get into that when I get the TV. Wow, the G4 is looking way brighter right there. Of course, this is dynamic tone mapping on. We'll switch it back. Same green as last year? Not as bad. Not as bad as the G3. I could tell you that. The G3 was a noticeable, like, huge difference. I'm curious to test the C4 because the yellows look really terrible on the C4 C3 last year. So curious to see how that is. Oh, they want me to block. Okay. Oh, that's just deflect. I've played this game before. I know how to play. I'm just trying to look at scenery. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't look like it does on on the stream. Doesn't look as green. It's let me even see if I can change the white balance a little bit on the camera because It doesn't look like that at all. And keep in mind, I have the white balance set to the S90D, I'm pretty sure. But like when I'm looking at it though, I'm not seeing a huge green tint like you guys are on the screen. I could promise you that. I would tell you. Just like I told you last year. Yeah, it looks like there's a green tint on the stream. I see what you guys are seeing. There's not though in person. I just blew out the camera, my bad. I was trying to do the opposite. All right, we're good. Let me see if I could change the white balance so you can kind of see what it actually looks like. Bear with me for 1 second. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours now. Dang. All right. Let's go white balance. I don't know. It's tough when you're showing 2 different TVs. I just made it worse. I was like, oh, I just made it worse. Okay. No. That didn't fix it. That just made it worse. Let's try this again. I don't know. Looks worse on the actual stream though. Cuz in person I don't see a green tint. And last year though, you could see it like it was really there. It's not too bad. I'm not saying there's not a small one. But it's definitely not like the G3. So that's dynamic tone mapping. Let's turn it back. The controller's like vibrating nonstop. It's weird. Cause I'm by a fire, I guess. I don't know. Go game picture expert, basic. Let's go back to basic. Let's turn on HGIG or not. Let's just turn it off, maybe. Yeah, let's put it in HGIG. Okay, now they're in the same thing. This is game mode basic. They both look really good. Color brightness is fine on both. Let's see some details. If you look really close, it does feel like there's a little bit more detail in the actual tiles there. You can't see that on stream. But let's look a little bit closer and see if I can show that. This is going to be something I have to show like in a video or something. If you look at the tiles, they look a little bit clearer on the G4. So like that's what I'm saying. Even right here, like it's better. And I know that there's like not that much processing going on in game mode probably, but it's just the native look of it does appear to be a little bit clearer. Don't know what you dial that up to, but that's what you see. Maybe the native sharpness is just a little bit sharper. And of course, I just have it on the default game mode sharpness of 0 for the Samsung. All right, let's back that up. Let's see, one more game. Let me try to load up something real quick and see if it works. Give me 1 sec. I don't know if it's in there or not. Nope, no disk. I'm gonna load up a game. Let's try Forza. Let me reload this actually. If you guys have any questions, ask them right now. I'll go through some questions before we wrap. And if you have a question that you want to ask, go ahead and ask it. You can either type question, put a question mark in front of your question. That way I know you're asking a question. Or you can go ahead and leave a super chat if you want to. Totally optional, not required. But much appreciated. As always. Let's look at adjusting this because I want to see exactly where the separation is, if there's any separation at all. So let me double check something. I can't read that. Okay, so it clips at 1500, it looks like. Yeah, 1500. It's gonna look blown out though on the S90D. I just want to see if there's a separation. I gotta reload this. It's out of focus. I don't know how that happened. Okay. So, for example, last year, this yellow on the car, just to demonstrate it again, to reiterate, I do approve of the G4 for gaming right now. When you would go from HDR modes, filmmaker mode, you would see that color like really lose something. You just don't really get that much this year. There is a little bit, but it is not. It's not a ton. So it's slightly there, slightly. But I think we've lost our white balance for some reason. Don't know why. Don't know why that would do that, but it didn't it? No? Okay, it didn't. And tone mapping is obviously going to look different when you have HDIG on, so let's go ahead and turn off that. Because when you saw me switch just now, the difference was because I was in HDIG in this game uses that. So let me show you exactly what happens when you don't. So turn it off and turn it on. That's dynamic tone mapping. That's what that would look like. Now if it does it all of a sudden, if we lose color brightness, I'm gonna laugh. But before, when we were switching between game optimizer and filmmaker mode, we weren't losing anything. And we're not still. So that's good. Last year, if you have dynamic tone mapping off, you lose something in the yellow. You don't this year. That's great. That's great. But now, like when you use HDIG in this game, I believe since I did set the Xbox now to 1500, we should see the Samsung probably clip highlights now. So should notice a difference with that. We'll see though. Yeah, you can see the sky is blowing out on the Samsung. That's the downside of you need two different Xboxes to really give a fair comparison of the maximum brightness. Or you just don't use HGIG. I just want a quick event. What did it get blurry again? What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Camera just changed focus. I didn't touch it. It's not autofocus either. It's not on autofocus. I'm using my Sony A7C II right now. They both look really good. Samsung's blowing out the highlights only because I have the LG set higher. I have the TV set higher. It's because the S90D is not capable of 1500 nits on like game mode. So and probably in general. I didn't measure it. I don't measure TVs. Classy does though. He will give you the measurements. I just look at TVs and make observations. That's all I do. I don't do anything special. But I appreciate the love you guys show. Let's see. So like, as I've been pointing out though, like yellows, oranges on the G3 last year compared to the S90C, it was huge and it was noticeable. Even the sky, you know, would lose a little bit of brightness. But now we've got a really good gaming TV right here in the G4. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I will highly suggest this. Let's go ahead and put it now in active. And then dynamic tone mapping on. Trying to show it both ways for you guys. I don't have any text on the screen, hopefully. Okay. Good. Hopefully it's coming across good here. What am I doing? I know how to change this. Okay. I might do a part 2 tomorrow. I'm not sure. Probably not. I think we covered most stuff. Most of the stuff. The rest of it's gonna have to just be covered in a video. Did I fully change that to active? Or did I just change it by itself? Nope, that's game motion plus. Advanced active, okay. We're good here. And then let's go ahead and put the dynamic tone mapping on here. I just want to show you guys both. So when dynamic tone mapping's on and active is on, advanced is completely blown out. I can't see the sky. I can't see the clouds in the sky at all. And you know, that's because it's like I don't know what to say. But dynamic tone mapping is not doing that very well. It's not really. I've lost the sky. I lost the sky completely. And again, that's a lot to do with the Xbox settings, so keep that in mind. If I go switch it to 1200 or 1000, you'll see the clouds come back. But you're definitely capable of more brightness out of the G4. If you see me crashing in the walls, it's because I'm looking at chat. I'm not actually trying to play this game. Just showing you it. I can't do the A95L in the G4, but I could do the A80L. I don't have the A95L on hand. I have the A80L on hand. Oh my god, I just spun out while I was looking at chat. S90 series 95 and 90 flattens highlights too much this year. Interesting. Yeah, it's something weird going on with the highlights. I gotta look at that even further. Again, I haven't seen the S95D, but I know you have it. I can't wait for your breakdown on that. So, Classy was saying that the C4 does still have the color luminance reduction for color brightness. So you do get like just a luminance reduction in general in game mode for the C4. So that's just like a G4 thing where you don't see any like noticeable drop off at all. I mean, there might be a measurable one. I don't know. But like with your eyes, you don't notice it. And I'm really excited to see the C4 too, because they have up the brightness on the C4, but I have a feeling the S90D will still get it with color brightness, and we'll see if that makes a huge difference. It's kind of crazy. Like, I feel like LG really dialed in this year, which is nice to see. Still wish they would have fixed the SDR brightness, but like I mentioned, I think that SDR brightness is fine on the G series. I think you're good. I think like if you get one game in SDR, you're good. You're good, and if you really want more, you can use ALM and another mode, and you're not really getting too much separation there. Okay. Go back to HDR calibration. I don't know if it changes it on the fly, but let's go back to 1000. Now they're both blown out. What? Okay. I think you have to reset the game. It's on auto power because I'm in SDR. So weird, dude. When you're outside of the game mode, like, you also have to change auto power. This is on ALM, and then it's like there. But when you're in HDR, that didn't have any effect, by the way, obviously, or else you would have noticed it. At the S90D at no point was winning on that just now. All right, let's load up that. Switch it back to basic. And then this one we'll put on HDIG. This is going to be really good content. And if you guys didn't catch this whole stream, I'm going to reuse a lot of parts of this stream and just like voice over it with new stuff for the actual comparison. So a lot of what you guys are watching right now is going to be in the actual comparison, probably, most likely. And that comparison should be live pretty soon. I would say I'm going to try to get it up by Monday. I don't know if I want to do a first impressions video first or what. Okay, we're in basic on both. Let's try to see if we can load the same race. Free play, quick events. All I did was press A last time, so I'm just going to press A again. Should get the same thing. Might change the weather on me though. Classy, what is going on with the highlights on the basic? I'm on basic right now, and I got it set to 1000 nits, which shouldn't clip highlights, but I'm not seeing any detail in the highlights at all, like as far as definition goes. And I lost the second layer of clouds there with the on game mode basic. So I actually think that like the G4 is killing it in terms of just beating the S90D with details and highlights, and it's not even like utilizing the full power. Right now I have it set to 1000. So oh my god, I crashed because I was looking at chat. And you guys know how critical I am with LG, so I'm gonna give LG their props when they fix it, and they did. So huge props to LG for fixing it. And that's why I made the video last year. It's because I was really hoping that more people catch on, more people complain about it. And, you know, I'm not saying that I originated it, of course not. But a lot of people did say it and call it out, so I'm glad they fixed this game mode brightness issue. Game mode color brightness is way better, and everything just seems to be working better. HGIG seems to be working better. There was times where HGIG just didn't seem to even give you any detail in the highlights, or it would clip the highlights when it wasn't supposed to. It just seems like there's such a smoother roll off now. You said set the contrast to 45. Is this what you're talking about? This might be what you're talking about. Okay. Oh, man, this is crazy. All right, let's double check to make sure it's in static. Okay, it is. Yeah, so I was noticing this it's not even the first year that they did this, where like even in HDR, it's not recommended you lower the contrast, but yeah, you can get some of it back when you go to 45. You're right. Like, look at that. So they just completely clip out the highlights on 50 contrast. And so you aren't really losing the actual APL. You're actually just losing the highlight brightness, which is fine. You do that. So I think, you're right, classy, and this is what I would recommend too, everybody to do with their S90D, their S95D is put your contrast at 45 for HDR, because look at that. You're getting your details back in the sky. So focus on the sky right here, and you can see you're getting it back at 45. So you're right, classy, 100%. That is nuts. So game mode, if you're setting your game mode, your contrast should be at 45. I haven't tested. Is it like that in movies and TV shows and stuff like that? Just regular content in general? Because I didn't notice like too much highlight detail issues with regular content, but it does seem like game mode was that. But now the G4 looks way better because of that decrease in contrast, though. So it's like a fight. You're fighting for detail. Oh my goodness. What are we doing? Yeah, you are losing overall brightness in your colors when you do that. So you just lose like a lot of impact. You lose a lot of HDR impact when you lower it to 45, classy. Ah, I'm frustrated. You lose so much impact. What is going on? Oh my goodness. So it's like you gotta either get the details or the impact with no details. Can't have both. Come on. I gotta get another S90C now and test that and see if like it was like that on the S90C and I just totally overlooked it. Cause now I see more details on the Samsung now, but like in this highlights, I mean. But I lost the HDR impact. HDR impact is like, I feel like I'm not getting it anymore. Man, there's gotta be like a middle ground. I guess 47 is like a middle ground. 48. You get a little bit of. You know what? If you have an S90D, you might just want to set your Xbox to like 900. That might fix it, huh? Let's see if that fixes it. So I'm gonna keep it at 50. Let's go to the HDR setup screen. Let's see what it actually clips at. I can't read that. 900 is where it disappears. 900 is where it disappears. So obviously, yeah. See, if you look at the calibrated image, can't see it. Yeah, you can. If you see it on the calibrated image, it's not blown out. Uncalibrated image, it shows that it is, obviously. If I go back and I go to 1000 nits here, look, I just blew it out. Oh, wait, I got some both. So I set both to 1000 nits now. And you can see now the highlights are gone. So if you have an S90D and you want to keep it at 50 contrast, you have to use 900. Because look, if I'm using 900, it's not as bad. And I could see the details in the clouds there. But 1,000, it's gone. So set your Xbox to 900 for the S90D is what I would do. So let's run that game again at 900 and see if we have to lower the contrast to see the clouds. Do I have to restart the game? We'll find out. I probably have to restart the game. Ooh. Now keep in mind, this is the S90D versus the G4. So not the fairest comparison, but I will say that the G3 lost to the S90C last year in gaming. It did. That's not the case this year. Appreciate the love everybody's showing in the chat. I'm trying to give it a fair comparison as I can. That's why I keep running the same thing over and over. I just really want to make sure we're giving a fair look, and can't really run it fairly all at once. So it has to be done this way, where you just have to reload it constantly and look at the differences and see if anything sticks out. Okay, so I see some highlight details now on 50 contrast. I'm not getting any clipping in the sky right now. I'm at 50. So Xbox got to be at 900. For the S90D. For HGIG to work. HGIG 90. Not 90. On the 90D. 900 nits. And that's where it disappears at too, to be fair. So it is seeming to work if you just follow the patterns. 900 will be the clipping point. Oh my god. I'm just like spinning out because I saw somebody type something. I'm like, what? What are we talking about here? A lot of jokesters in chat. Yeah, a classy, that seemed to fix it. Like, I could have it at 50 contrast and be at 900 nits for the Xbox, and we're good. Because lowering it to 45 on 1,000 nits is just not going to be recommended at all. Because it loses the HDR impact. But with this, you still get the HDR impact, and it's not clipping the details in the sky. So okay, hold on. Let me read this. So you said try it at contrast 45 to 48 and then raise the peak on the console. So pretty much like what I had it on, where it was at 1500 and then it matches. See, but it still doesn't match. Let's see where, if we have it on 45, where it would clip at. But then, like you were saying on the phone, it starts to tone map it, right? Like, it starts to tone map the pattern at 45 contrast. That would be 1250 is where it disappears at. $1250 if you want it to disappear on 45 contrast. But I had it on 1500 and we put it at 45 and I lost so much impact. I think I would rather have it at 900 and not lose that contrast. Because 1250 is where the pattern disappears. So, but you don't have that same impact. Because if you look at the calibrated image here, you have it at 45 and then you raise it to 50 and then you go back and you switch it to 900. It matches the G4. It matches the G4 now when it's at 900. In terms of like being able to see the details, and I don't lose the impact of the sun there. But like if I lower it, I'm losing the impact of the sun. So like it might not track the EOTF right, but it looks better. Like there's more impact. I get almost the same impact if they're set the same. Oh, it's a fight. That's a fight. I don't think I would do that. No matter what you do, the LG will be brighter. You're right. Yeah, and I realize that lowering the thing is it's nerfing the G4. And I explained that. I wanted to make sure people know that. Yeah. All right. Let's go through chat. All right. Last second questions. Oh god. Controller's just vibrating on the table. All right, we're good. All right. So if you guys have questions, let's do it right now. Type the questions. I'm going to look through chat, see if anybody actually did type a question when I was saying it, and I actually forgot to answer those questions. Apologies. Not the smoothest stream in the world. I mean, but what stream is really, you know, we're just kind of like doing it on the fly and stuff. This is a really good question from Rock City. Is the G4 processor on the level of Sony this year? And if you had to pick, would you take a QD OLED over the G4 from LG? I gotta see the S95D still. The problem with the S95D is I like it and I don't like it at the same time. Because I personally wouldn't buy it. It doesn't match my preference of coding. And I've said that before, but I don't think it looks that bad. But it can look really bad. And that's the issue with it is I would just kind of rather have a full glossy screen. That's just me personally. But I don't think that it's gonna kill your image in a dark room, for example. You still do get milky blacks though, and that's the thing I can't really get over with the S95D is like I don't know if I would sacrifice that. So those of you that are kind of debating between an S95D and a G4, you give up a little bit of color brightness with the G4. But the S95D, you do have that coating. It's like you either love it or you hate it. And that's not going to be something I can decide for you. I'm going backwards in the cars. I'm not even focused. I'm just looking at chat. This probably looks really funny. I just realized it. I was like, oh, there's just cars coming at me on the stream out of nowhere. What am I doing? But yeah, no, you guys got to just see the S95D before you make that decision because I can't make that decision for you. I could just give you like my 2 cents on it. Lost track. What's the current settings? I'm not focused on settings. I just tried to look at the chat. I didn't set anything right now. Oh god, I'm reading the old chat. All right, we're gonna speed it up. Let's go. Sounds like Sony's taking a break. I just don't think they're gonna do QD OLED this year. I don't know their lineup, but so G4 more is a C4 more accurate? That's a question for Classy. Scroll down. Dude, chat is flying. Sorry. I recommend Uber Autopilot. Yeah. Definitely. Still going the wrong way. I'm not looking at the screen. I'm looking at the chat. Scrolling through old questions. I was trying to get people's old questions before I got to their new questions. Do I drive a Tesla? No. I'm not rich. Well, I guess you don't have to be rich to have a Tesla now. But I don't have a Tesla. I would never spend more than $10,000 on a car. Most likely. I don't really drive that much. So, biggest leap in technology so far, I would say like that jumping from WOLED to QD OLED was pretty good. It's not as huge as like if you're watching just regular content, but if you're watching content that takes advantage of QD OLED, it's there. And then same thing with MLA and I put MLA and QD OLED very close together. So when you give a WOLED MLA to help it, it does help it. Like it helps the areas that WOLED struggled with a lot. It's still not gonna fix the color brightness totally, but I don't think most people would like notice it unless it was next to a QD OLED. So there's strengths to both, and I think what you'll notice more than anything is those white highlights, and that's probably gonna give you more impact overall. And I think the G4 it could be a more impactful TV. But I haven't seen the S95D, and I know it gets very bright. I mean, I have seen it. I've seen the S95D, obviously, right? I did a video on it. I haven't seen the G4 next to the S95D. So, but I think seeing the leap, I think the biggest leap to me is looking at an LCD TV next to one of these newer OLEDs, be it MLA or QD OLED, to see that difference side by side. Now, brightness wise, LCD doesn't get the win anymore. To me, that's the biggest leap, is that you don't need LCD anymore for brightness. If brightness is your main concern, you don't need LCD. Where before, a WOLED next to an LCD, the LCD was way more impactful with HDR. Still not as good contrast-wise, obviously, but you took the trade-off for that HDR impact. And now, with QD OLED and MLA, you get the HDR impact of an LCD TV, and then you still keep the OLED TV contrast. And so I think that's the great thing about it. And that's why you would pay the premium overall. So hope that makes sense. Jumping ship, or are you sticking to QD OLED? I'm not jumping ship to anything. I'm not sticking to anything. I don't have like a personal TV that I'm like tied to. I'm gonna test these TVs. My daily driver is probably gonna be a LG C3. Sorry, not a C3. My daily driver for my monitor is probably gonna be a LG C4, and then I'll probably just use like an A80L and the U8. I don't even know yet. For like my bedroom, and then I still have the A80J downstairs. So that's just kind of what I'm rolling with. But I barely watch a lot of TV by myself anymore because I'm always testing out TVs. And when I have the TVs in the test, I watch TV on there, um, like movies and stuff because it's fun to do and see the differences and stuff. So I don't really shouldn't pay attention. Don't pay attention to like what I'm gonna pick. I'll say that right now because I'm not gonna swing one way or the other. I don't really have a preference. I think they're close, though. I don't think there's like a definitive this is better than this. And I said that last year too with the G3 and the S95C. I was like, okay, the biggest separator is game mode. That's it. Movie mode, I actually thought the G3, if you prefer brightness, the G3 was the way to go last year. But they're both good. If you're not really doing that, so this is a good ASBL test right now, I guess. Like we can see which one is gonna dim. I just realized that we could do that while I'm looking through chat. And then Tony Train says, I will be upgrading a C9 from a G4. Is that a worthy upgrade? Yeah, I would say that's a worthy upgrade. That would be a worthy upgrade. How's the motion? I didn't test that yet. I didn't really do any motion tests yet. Like, I mean, like, but out of the box filmmaker mode, motion looks fine. With filmmaker mode out of the box versus the Samsung. All right, let's see. More questions. Anybody? Caught up? Nope, not caught up. The oncoming traffic is giving me anxiety. I mean, look, does the ASBL not kick in because there's so much cars like just popping in? Is that like maybe ASBL is just not gonna pop on because there's so much traffic coming at us? Yep. Classy's 100% right. Don't judge it right now. Matter of fact, I should just put them both in the dynamic tone mapping while I'm answering questions. Okay. Static is so dim compared to dynamic tone mapping on, but that's just because dynamic tone mapping lifts like literally the whole picture. My goodness. Bizarre, you're here at the tail end of the stream right now. I just have it on dynamic tone mapping on. I'm answering questions in chat, and then we're about to wrap up the stream. So. Is there like an intro we can watch? Oh, I can rewind the race? Okay, this will be fun. Doesn't go all the way. This is gonna be weird. Alright, I'm just gonna hold the Y button. See how far it rewinds. That's as far as it goes, I think. Nope. We'll do more comparisons later, and I'll have a video. And yeah, I'm not done with this comparison. By far, I'm not. Okay. I haven't seen any other questions pop in, so we're gonna call it there. I think if you guys do have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Thank you to everybody for stopping by. Please hit a like on the video before you leave. I really do appreciate that. You guys absolutely killed it watching this stream. A lot of people watching. I love that. Thank you. And yeah, any questions you have remaining, put them in the comments. I'll be sure to answer them. I won't have a definitive answer on like what technology is going to be better or which one you should get until I see the S95D, and then that coding is going to have to be like up to you. That's going to have to be up to you in terms of that. Yeah, but it's about 9:30. I'm trying to think, can I use the YouTube app on here? Because I really don't want to try to reset the Apple TV. Let's see. I know you guys are requesting a little bit more of that HDR content, so let me look if this works without like having to do anything. But then it's not even on there. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. We'll just go to the LG demos. Right, I have it in game mode, HDR on still. Unless filmmaker mode's gonna pop on all of a sudden, ALLM and stuff. Isn't that what ALLM is supposed to do? Is it supposed to recognize that you're not in gaming content? Okay, that's not gonna work. All right. Let me know if we should do a part 2 in the comments. If not, that's cool. I think I covered pretty much everything, and I'll just do a video side by side of this and break it down that way. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. You guys are really awesome. So thank you. Take it easy, guys. Till next time. Peace.